Good evening. Welcome to the March 20th Village Board regular meeting. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Levin.
Here.
Trustee Gazzada.
Present.
Mayor Gearity.
Present. And I think we're going to skip mayors and trustees announcements for the moment, unless somebody had something they felt needed to happen before the big event. We have a room full of people here for a very special evening, and that means that before we can do the very special presentations of the promotions for the police officers, becoming sergeants, becoming lieutenants, becoming captains in the reverse order, we need to formally vote. Have the board approve them so that we can do the swearing in. So where do we begin that? I believe it's item
That
D.
would be Resolution D.
Yeah.
Appointment Police Captain Jeffrey Giorgio. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to applicable provision of civil service law and unconsolidated laws of New York State, hereby appoints Jeffrey Giorgio to the position of Police Captain in the Village of Ossining from eligible list number 27-737, effective March 25th, 2019, at an annual salary of $152,799. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter E, appointment Police Lieutenant Aaron Zimmerman. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to applicable provision of civil service and unconsolidated laws of New York State, hereby appoints Aaron Zimmerman to the position of Police Lieutenant in the Village of Ossining from eligible list 78-093, effective March 25th, 2019, at an annual salary of $132,908. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter F, appointment Police Sergeant Joseph Spinelli. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, pursuant to applicable provision of civil service law and unconsolidated laws of New York State, hereby appoints Joseph Spinelli to the position of Police Sergeant in the Village of Ossining from eligible list 71-198, effective March 25th, 2019, at an annual salary of $125,143. This appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And with that, we will begin our swearing in. Chief will join me, and we will begin with Lieutenant, soon to be Captain. Well, no, I guess he is Captain now. Captain Giorgio, please join us. You want to stand next to me, and then I'll get out of the way when it's your moment. All right, be careful. All right, please repeat after me. I, Jeffrey Giorgio,
I, Jeffrey Giorgio,
being duly sworn, state on my honor,
being duly sworn, state on my honor,
I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or my public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
Further, I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I'm a resident of the state of New York,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of New York.
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of New York.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining,
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Police Captain
in and for said Village of Ossining, New York, to the best.
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York, to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Giorgio. Congratulations. Chief, did you want to make a few
Sure,
comments?
sure. So this is a really big deal for me. The captain position is one that we've been holding on to for a couple of years now, and one that I take very seriously. And we really took our time, not necessarily with selecting, because Jeff Giorgio has been somebody that's been very close to me professionally and personally for a long time. When you come into this profession, I think that a lot of us are always looking for something of a mentor and somebody we can look to that can guide us and show us the right way to do things and what a cop should be. And for me, that's always been Jeff Giorgio. We were patrolmen together in my first squad, and he'd guide me on the right way to do things and how to be successful in this business. And as he got promoted to sergeant, I wanted to. Jeff was always there for me. When I had the opportunity to become chief, you know, it's a difficult position because you don't have a peer at that point where you can look to and find out if you're doing things right. And when you talk and when you listen to somebody in their oath and what they talk about is having the courage to hold people accountable and to keep your integrity, one of the things that Jeff does very well is he has the willingness to come in and tell me when I've stepped out of line and when things need to change and when I'm not doing the right thing by the staff and by the residents of the community. So he is a bit of my opposite, is what I like to tell people. He's the yin to my yang, where I love the community outreach stuff and the fun and fuzzy things. Jeff oftentimes has a really strong focus on enforcement, and I think that's the perfect balance for this department, and it's going to be a great move for this department. So congratulations.
All right. Next, we will welcome up Lieutenant Zimmerman. And his family. Not their first time up here. All right, do me a favor. Let your dad come over here next to me because we're going to share this piece of paper. And can you go right there next to your dad and the chief? In fact, you can stand right in front of them. You're way cuter. So, yeah, all right, you're good. You're good. All right. I, Aaron Zimmerman, being duly sworn, state on my honor.
I, Aaron Zimmerman, being duly sworn, state on my honor.
I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the trust.
I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York.
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York.
And I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of New York.
And I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of New York.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Police Lieutenant.
In and for said Village of Ossining, New York, to the best of my ability.
In and for the said Village of Ossining, New York, to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I think the chief might want to say a couple of words.
Step a little to the left as we're on street signs. All right. You guys are staying up here for this? Cool. You good? All right. Oh, what to say about Aaron Zimmerman? You know, Aaron's the kind of guy that I just thank God I'm not competing against him myself. He's an incredibly talented person with a drive that's just unmatched. And, you know, when you look down Aaron's resume, a lot of times in policing, there's a lot of competition among us. And there's, particularly in a smaller department, there's only so many details to go around. And everybody wants a piece of it. And it's just not always available to everybody. When you look down Aaron's resume, it appears that he's had all of them. And in a lot of jobs, people would look at that and say that a guy's hooked, or he must just have special preference, or he's the boss's friend. The truth is that what I've watched Aaron do as we started a couple of months apart is that every single opportunity that's come available, he's requested, he's stepped up, he's begged, he's kicked and screamed to be a part of. You know, Aaron really embodies all the qualities that we're looking for in a good cop in Ossining, in that he's there for everything we do. Not always the one who's going to put his name on everything, but for every dunk tank and every movie I've done, for every program I've had that's been successful, there's been one that's flopped, but at both events, Aaron's always been there to support it, even though that might not be what he's best known for. An incredible cop with a lot of talent. We're really excited for him to go on. He's going to be leading the detective division now. We had a rare opportunity to have somebody who's now got experience both as a detective investigator and as a patrol supervisor, and hopefully now taking all of the skills he's got from both of those and doing a fantastic job upstairs. So congratulations. Thanks.
And that leaves us with Sergeant Spinelli. Please join us with your family. Who's doing? Oh, yes. So maybe somebody else holds it for a minute. Okay. All righty. All right. Repeat after me. I, Joseph Spinelli, being duly sworn, state on my honor.
I, Joseph Spinelli, being duly sworn and state on my honor,
I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
Further, I am a resident of the state of New York,
Further, that I am a resident of the state of New York,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of New York.
and I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of New York.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the Village of Ossining.
I will obey all the ordinances, rules, regulations of the Village of Ossining,
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Sergeant.
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Police Sergeant
In and for the said Village of Ossining, New York, to the best of my ability.
in and for the said Village of Ossining, New York, to the best of my ability.
Let me get out of your way.
Very good job. All right, we got so many fantastic helpers today. It's really nice in a small department to have personal relationships with all of the people that work here, and particularly when it's time for promotions. Joe and I go back specifically to the first day of the police academy where he sat in front of me. His only mistake in his career is that he started in Pleasantville before he was smart enough to transfer over here. I think even Joe's being here sort of happened by accident, where we sort of crossed paths on the road one day, and I said, "Hey, how's things going over there?" And he said, "Good, but I heard Ossing's really fun." I said, "Yeah, send a resume, and things will work out." And here we stand. Joe's a guy who stepped up, and he's been president of the PBA for a number of years, an absolutely thankless position. A lot of people think when you look at a resume of a cop, and there's a lot of details there, that things have been given to them. But I'll tell you that a position like president of the PBA is something that I don't wish on my worst enemy. It's a tough job to do, and it's one that really requires you to sometimes sacrifice your own position in things. And imagine being on a list for promotion, and every single day you've got to come in and argue with me about things. But I respect Joe because we talk about holding people accountable and having that integrity, and that's what that means for him. Couldn't be better timing last week with one of the biggest drug busts we've had in recent history, with an A2 felony coming in. All of that just speaking to Joe's dedication to the community and what a great job he does as a cop. So we know that he's going to take all of that on to being a first-line supervisor and be one of our best leaders. So congratulations.
Absolutely. Congratulations to all of the families of those who were recently promoted. Has everybody signed it in, or do you need the lieutenant? Okay, very good. I want to say thank you to the chief and to everyone who was part of this promotion process. It's a real pleasure to be able to get to, very good, to get to be part of this process, to learn more about what happens inside this department every day. It's an incredible group of men and women who put their lives on the line and reach out in usually really kind ways to our community. You do so much for us to protect us each day, and we're so grateful for it. And you do such a great job that most of the time, most people forget how hard you're working, but we never do here in the village government, and we are so grateful for all of you. Thank you, and congratulations to all of the recently promoted folks. I think we should take probably a 5-minute break, because I imagine there might be some folks who would like to take pictures. So we'll take a 5-minute break.
I should have gotten up like man. Okay.
I think we're going back to mayors and trustees announcements.
Yep. Mayors and trustees announcements.
Let's skip it.
Okay. Well, I will remind folks that it is almost April, and that is the month of Earth Day, and it's a big month here in Ossining. This year, it's especially big on Earth Day, April 22nd. We will be doing our big formal kickoff of the Clean Streets of Ossining, so we're looking forward to that. Also, Green Ossining and the Ossining Documentary and Discussion Series have some programming prepared for this month. It starts on Thursday, April 11th at the Boudars Theater is the Source to See documentary, which is a short film created by John Bowermaster, supported by the Riverkeeper, which is, of course, located here in Ossining, and they have partnered with John Bowermaster, who's a documentary filmmaker, on a number of occasions. In fact, the series has shown some of his films in the past. It's a short film that is related to some really interesting water quality data that has been collected by Ossining high school students in partnership with Riverkeeper. So it's a very special program with the short film, and then working with, and then we'll learn from the Ossining high school students about the work that they are doing testing the water at the Ossining waterfront. The following week, on Thursday, April 18th, that short film will then be part of an evening of 3 short films, all by John Bowermaster, Source to See, Undamming the Hudson, and Growing the Grain. And John Bowermaster himself will be there. It's a shorter film in a special location. It's going to be across the street from here at Sing Sing Hill Brewery, and that one starts at 7:30. The usual start time for the documentary discussion series is 6:30, and that's what's happening on the 11th. It's 7:30 on the 18th at the Sing Sing Hill Brewery across the street. And then everyone, please make sure that your calendar is marked for April 27th. That's a Saturday. That is the, the 9th annual Earth Day Festival, sponsored by Green Ossining. It is Westchester County's largest Earth Day celebration. I hope you will join us at the Ossining waterfront, and you can also learn more about the Riverkeeper Sweep, where you can sign up to be part of a day of service for the river at the annual event. That's actually happening in May, but we've got so many events in April related to environmentalism. You'll have lots of reminders to check out the Riverkeeper Sweep and get signed up for that day of service. All right, that was, I think, 4 announcements in one. Is there anything that anybody else thought of while I was
I did.
yammering away? Go ahead.
I wanted to remind, today is the first day, March 20th of spring. Days are getting longer. Just a reminder to people as I drive around, when you have your lights set on timers, especially with the hours change, please reset your timers so that the lights are not shining during the daytime. That would just help us, I think, on the energy side throughout the village. So I appreciate that. That, I guess, goes also for our own village lights that I think go on automatically, some by sensors, but that would be helpful if they get set for later in the day. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Okay, we'll move into administrative reports. Village Manager Deborah McDonald.
Thank you very much. I wanted to let everyone know that the Ossining emergency team met today to talk about our summer fun. And there are a lot of activities that are going on. We have the Village Fair. We have the Portuguese Festival. Last year we had a Hispanic Fair Festival, and I'm not sure if we're having that
They are,
again.
yes. She'll be reaching out to you.
Okay. The fire department is having their inspection event. The fire department also is doing their parade. And then in Engle Park, for July and August, there are concerts in the park and just a lot of activity going on. So it's going to be a really fun year. And the team met just to kind of get organized and make sure that those events go off without a hitch and that everybody that comes to them can have a really good time. So, you know, mark your calendars. The summer's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of festivals and a lot of opportunities to get involved. And, you know, in addition to the farmers market that occurs every Saturday. So it should be a lot of fun on the waterfront and downtown. So we're looking forward to that. I wanted to let the board and the public know that that I've been meeting with the building department to look at our operations and to really identify all the different facets of the building department, code enforcement, all of the different items that we need to take care of on behalf of safety for this community. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some of that information, and quite frankly, the team is looking forward to sharing it perhaps at a future work session. We have 2 more scheduled. We may have to go 3. They're 2-hour meetings once a week, and there has been a really good dialogue amongst the team members about where they're spending their time and how we can better prepare to present a healthier customer service relationship and manage the expectations. So I think I hope that the public will see a good result out of this, and I know that the staff is going to, and they've really enjoyed that. So at a future meeting, you'll be seeing more about what happens in the building department and what happens in code enforcement, what are some of the annual things that we do inspections on, and how we intend to increase our ability to actually go out and do some of those annual inspections. So this board here, the Board of Trustees, has asked that we step up our game for code enforcement, and I think this is one of those steps for us getting there and for the public to understand all of the different things that we do. And I can tell you that the staff is already starting to think about ways to streamline things. And so I think you'll be very pleased with the outcome of those meetings. And I just wanted to share that with everyone. That's all I have for tonight.
Corporation Counsel Stuart Kahan.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Most members of the public are probably aware about the announcements regarding the natural gas moratorium involving Con Edison. That moratorium is now in effect, and it is likely to be in effect for 7 years at least. I was at a meeting of the Westchester Municipal Land Federation last week. They had a number of seminars. One was on the gas moratorium, and there are very few exceptions, simply put. So if you are planning to do any new work, particularly if you're planning to build a new development, or if you're planning to change the use of your particular location to make it that it's going to be using more gas, you're going to have to come up with alternative plans, alternative means. Now, NYSERDA, which is through the state of New York, does have a large number of grants which are now available for different types of heating systems that can be utilized. And in fact, there is on April the 24th, there is a meeting sponsored by NYSERDA at the Doubletree in Tarrytown on that particular topic. But it's important that, everyone know this. It is something that we're going to be announcing at all of our planning board meetings, also going to be announcing at the planning, when people come in with plans to the planning department, because if their intent is to build new with gas and they have not already asked Con Ed for permission to hook up, they're not going to get that permission. And so it's very important. One of the things we will also be looking at is our projects that are already in the queue with the planning department, because if someone has planned to do gas but has not put in their request, that may force a review of a site plan, that may force a different environmental review. It may change significantly for what the particular project is. But for the foreseeable future, as was the view from the gentleman from NYSERDA as well as the other lecturer, we can anticipate that moratorium will remain in effect. We are, unfortunately, at the very northern end of the border where the moratorium exists. If you were to go to Croton, they are not covered by the moratorium. And the rest of the northern part of the county, both from Hudson River all the way over to the Connecticut border, is not. Primarily, that's because they don't have as many gas connections there. And it was pointed out this is not a matter of Con Ed not having enough gas, but it's a matter of not simply having enough ability to transmit that gas to the different locations. But in any event, this is, if you want to call it, the new normal, and all businesses, homeowners, and particularly developers need to be aware of it going forward with all projects, particularly in this area, because we are covered by the moratorium.
Thank you. Police Chief Kevin Sylvester.
Sorry, microphone. So I'm exhausted after all those promotions. That's a big night. I want to thank the board for allowing us to move forward with those promotions, for allowing us the budget space and the opportunity to reorganize our staff in the way that we did. It's going to be incredibly helpful for that. And I recognize, and I think all of our staff does, that our ability to make those promotions is a nod of confidence from you in that we're heading in the right direction, and that this really is in furtherance of all of the good things that we're trying to accomplish here. To that end, not necessarily directly related to the topic of law enforcement, but we are currently in talks with BOCES, the Ossining School District, and the Ossining Public Library on the possibility of hosting a high school equivalency program, commonly known as TASK now, no longer the GED. If there's anybody out there who's currently seeking a program like that, the only programs currently available are either in Yonkers or Yorktown, and sometimes that's difficult for people with transportation issues. So there used to be one at the library. There hasn't been for some time. We've found that there is some interest in that program from some young people here, and it's something we're looking to bring back. So because we have so much contact with so many people outside, we're participating in trying to organize that. So if there's anybody out there, they can call my office, call the police station for details on that, and we'll try and find a date for that coming up. On a law enforcement perspective, we are busy scheduling all of our summer programs. We'll be partnering with the Ossining School District this summer for our block parties. We're planning 4 different events that we'll be announcing very soon. And aside from that, business as usual. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move into organization announcements. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board on any organization announcements? No.
Seeing no one.
Okay. Village board resolutions. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board on any of the board resolutions? No? Okay, so we'll move into resolutions. Approval of minutes dated March 6, 2019. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the March 6, 2019 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk, did you have comments?
Just wondering if I was here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't remember.
Wait, no,
March 6th.
you were not
I
here.
was not
You were
here.
not here,
Abstained.
so.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Letter B, approval of minutes dated March 13th, 2019 special meeting. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the March 13th, 2019 special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter C, approval of voucher detail dated March 20th, 2019. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated March 20th, 2019 in the amount of $324,020.26. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter G, resolution endorsing the application by Hudson Valley Arts and Science for a grant under Round 12 of the Hudson River Estuary Program. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby does approve and endorse the application of Hudson Valley Arts and Science for a grant under Round 12 Hudson River Estuary Program for a project known as Permitting, Continuation, and Construction of Village of Ossining Public Pier Phase 1. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll just comment that we got word from Gareth Huffam today that he did successfully submit this grant application, and included in that was a letter written on behalf of the board that I signed that is a much more verbose and grand statement about not only the our endorsement of the grant application and as the owners of the pier that we are supportive of that. And this resolution is a follow-up detail that we'll submit as an attachment to that. All those, Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter H, resolution authorizing credit refund of real property taxes for 6 First Avenue, 90.09-2-6. Resolved that the treasurer of the Village of Ossining is authorized to refund Helena Louisa Williams, the owner of 6 First Avenue, Ossining, New York, 90.09-2-6, the sum of $850.36 for the 2019 village property tax, which refund is a result of a clerical error. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter I, resolution declaring certain fire department vehicles as surplus. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby declares the following vehicles as surplus equipment and authorizes their disposal in accordance with New York State law by sale or otherwise as is. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And the list of this is available on the,
In the clerk,
on the
yes.
website. They can link on the hot link, and we did discuss it at last week's work session. Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter J, resolution authorizing IMA agreement in Westchester County for continued participation in the Organic Yard Waste Management Program. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby authorizes the village manager to enter into an agreement of an IMA with the Westchester County for renewal term to expire March 31st, 2023, concerning the use of the village's organic yard waste transfer site at 30 Water Street, such agreement being subject to review and approval by Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter K, resolution approving awning permit for 133 Main Street. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the application for Penny and Ting located at 133 Main Street for the installation of an awning in accordance with the application received on October 30th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter L, resolution authorizing the village manager to sign the revised memorandum of understanding between Historic Hudson River Towns Incorporated and the Village of Ossining for the creation of the Sing Sing Prison Museum and the state grants awarded to pay for certain costs incurred in connection with the project. Resolved that the village manager of the Village of Ossining hereby authorized to execute a revised MOU with Historic Hudson River Towns Incorporated, subject to review and approval of such MOU by Corporation Council, for the purpose of establishing terms and conditions under which Historic Hudson River Towns Incorporated will work with the Village of Ossining to facilitate the development of the Sing Sing Museum for the benefit of the village and surrounding areas to commence upon the execution of the MOU. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? I'll just say thank you very much, Stuart, for working so closely with Jerry Fiella and the members of the Sing Sing Prison Museum Board, and previously, before the board was, of the museum board was formally established, all of this was coming through the Historic Hudson River Towns, and so this is, a sequence of names of organizations that have been facilitating and making these grant applications. And this MOU is just a slight variation from a previous MOU that is going to allow us to now move into the next stage. And I think we have one more paperwork thing on our end to do, and the museum board has a lot of work to do for the next 18 months. Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution M, approving cabaret license for 3 Westerly Restaurant, a.k.a. Ossining Restaurant LLC, 3 Westerly Road, Ossining, New York. Resolved that pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves cabaret license for 3 Westerly Restaurant, a.k.a. Ossining Restaurant LLC, 3 Westerly Avenue, for 2019 as follows. 3 Westerly Restaurant, a.k.a. Ossining Restaurant LLC, daily hours Sunday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. Type of music, background music, DJ, small piece band. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Letter N, Fire Department Driver's List, Cataract Hose Company Number 2, Inc. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, Angel Lopez, Ossining, New York, was added as a driver for Cataract Hose Company Number 2, Inc. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter O, Fire Department Appointment, Ossining Steamer Company Number 1, resolved that upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, Mauro Ramos, Ossining, New York, was elected as an active member of Ossining Steamer Company Number 1 for interior firefighting at their regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter P, Finance Budget Modification to provide funding for RFPQ for reuse of former DPW site on Water Street. Resolved, the 2019 general fund budget is modified to transfer appropriations of $10,000 from the contingency account for contractual services to prepare a request for proposals qualifications for reuse of the former DPW site on Water Street as follows. The budget modifications are on file in the clerk's office. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter Q, DPW authorization to advertise for bids, contract DPW-19-01 HVAC upgrades to police court facility. Resolved that the village clerk is authorized to advertise for bids for contract DPW 19-01 HVAC upgrades to police court facility to be returnable to the office of the village clerk. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Letter R, resolution authorizing settlement Stony Lodge Hospital versus Village of Ossining. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining authorizes settlement of the matter of Stony Lodge Hospital Inc. versus the Village of Ossining et al., 18 CV 09724, in the amount of $60,000. And it is further resolved that the treasurer of the Village of Ossining is hereby authorized and directed to pay the said claimant the amount of $60,000 in full settlement of the aforementioned matter upon delivery of the Village of Ossining of a release to the village for the settlement of such claim. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Continuing business of the board.
None that I'm aware of, no.
New business of the board.
Nope.
Visitor recognition. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board?
It appears there is.
Good evening, everyone. Deborah Pangle, the Cat Squad Rescue, Briarcliff. We are here to challenge the tether law passed on October 3rd, 2018. We intend to submit officially in writing important amendments to be considered to make this law stronger. The most important change is with restriction for dogs. Your law makes it legal to chain a dog for 12 hours a day without supervision. It just begs the question, what would make you think that this would ever be seen as anything other than irresponsible and inhumane? What would make you think that any responsible dog owner or advocate would ever find this acceptable? Did you actually think about what a dog's life is like when it's chained and left alone? How many of your friends chain their dogs for 12 hours a day? How many of you on the board own a dog, and do you chain your dog for 12 hours a day outside alone? The real answer is this. You wanted to pass a law to give the impression that you understood and cared about your community and the rights of animals. I'm here tonight to tell you that you have failed. Most importantly, you failed to be honest about your responsibility to value and honor the basic national standards of safety and protection for dogs who are chained everywhere and chained in Ossining. I'm also submitting tonight a letter that I forwarded to you from Brian Shapiro, who is the New York State Director of the Humane Society. And if you are not aware, I know that he spoke to some of the officials here. He is aware of this law. He is concerned about the fact that it does not protect and do much at all, and that he is sending a couple of laws to you from the state of New York that are stronger and actually get the job done and are humane and protect and care. So I will be working with him. There are other officials, by the way, that we are in touch with about this law. So I'll submit this for now, just to let you know, and also one with the coalition, the Claw Group. I just would like to say that, you know, there is a structure here to work with, and that, you know, to me, it's just so self-evident to make it legal to chain a dog for 12 hours alone without supervision and not defining any of the weather conditions is, I don't know, what do you call it? I just cannot take that seriously. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Well, here we are again. Thanks to your dastardly, very precisely constructed weak tether law, when we first approached you on the Ossining board and Mayor Gearity over a year ago, the primary thought was for Ossining to be in the forefront of all the municipalities that have now passed good tether laws. But instead, we were literally stabbed in the back by the cold-hearted, conniving plan to protect your ignorant, cruel compadre. Cronyism and corruption is not what a government should be based on. Concocting a tether law that encourages animal abuse will be turned against all of you. The truth is going to come out, and it won't be pretty. It's time to pay the fiddler.
Anyone else wishes to address the board?
Totally different issue, though I do second many of those comments. My name is Nicola Kenny, resident of 11 Edward Street, Ossining.
Excuse me, can you state your name?
I just did.
I'm sorry.
Nicola Kenny,
Nicola Kenny.
11 Edward Street in
Oh,
the
you don't
village
have
of
to say it.
Ossining.
It's okay.
And what I want to address is a quality of life issue in Ossining, which is a rising problem of trash on the streets. And the fact that there's now, for reasons that I still can't figure out, a complete removal of all the trash cans at the top of Main Street, which is now causing a lot of people to just leave things on the benches and other places along that stretch. But it's also been a problem, as far as I'm concerned, at all the bus stops in town. And I just want to see if there's anything that can be done, you know, as an initiative. Because, you know, as the mayor made the comments about the upcoming events of Green Ossining and Earth Day, every day should be considered Earth Day, as far as I'm concerned. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please, you may comment.
Gotta speak up. I never can hear you.
I've turned my microphone on, actually. Thanks. So thanks for bringing to our attention. So I'm going to ask the village manager to do some sort of an update on this garbage can. We had a conversation at the work session. It's on, were you there at the
I'm
work
not sure.
session?
I don't.
Because you come to most of them.
I do.
was
but I
last
don't
week.
remember
It
you
was
talking
last
about
week.
this.
So, you know, On Video is a program about neat streets, which actually addresses a program that's rolling out regarding litter. So I don't want to repeat it all because it's all on video, and it was like a half hour, 45 minutes, so it might be of interest. But there are questions about two things, and I have gone there before, and I actually don't know the answer. So the bus stops and those areas, those are not actually all village, right? The cleanup of actual bus stops, who's managing that? Do you know?
I can address that a little bit. I spoke to Trustee
Okay.
Harara about this because the bus stop at the Arcadian was bothering me one day because I
Right.
was stuck there for
yeah.
a long time waiting for a bus that never
Yeah.
showed up. So he says that one in particular is municipal, or it's part of Beeline, so that would be their responsibility.
Right.
But I don't know about the more,
That's my
the less established ones that don't have a bench necessarily and things like that.
right. So
But-
who's responsible for cleaning up bus areas?
the
Is
main
that
bus
Beeline
stop-
or us?
It's typically the village.
Okay.
We allow the Beeline to come through. It's a great service for our residents, but we are required to keep it clean.
All right, so I think somebody should be looking. So thanks for bringing it to our attention. I know it's been very windy, things pile up near the fences,
And it's
but
going to
to
be
your
very
point.
windy in April,
No,
too.
no, I know. I actually drive by that all, I think it's great that you brought it to our attention. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
and last
Thank you.
year, Earth Day, Trustee Herrera and I were the ones that cleaned up the top of Main Street,
No, I appreciate it. Thank
going
you.
under bushes and everything. So.
Good evening, David Mallon from the Village of Ossining. 2 months ago, a group of residents stood before you to express concerns about a plan by Hudson Link to operate a halfway house for former prison inmates right next to Nelson Sitting Park across from the Park School Kindergarten Pre-K. There were questions asked, there were few answers given in response, and that was 2 months ago. Since that time, we understand that Mayor Gearity has met with Hudson Link, met with school officials. All of this has been behind closed doors. There's been no opportunity for the public to participate, to ask questions, to learn a thing. We've requested that Mayor Gearity provide a summary of what transpired at those meetings. That request has gone ignored. And I can tell you the few parents that have met with Hudson Link about this came away appalled by the stonewalling and by the rank dishonesty. Several hundred residents of Ossining have now signed a petition objecting to this proposal and are calling upon the village to take action, because this organization has lied to neighbors about their plans for the house. They have kept the schools in the dark. They have kept the community in the dark. The location makes absolutely no sense at all. To be clear, Hudson Link, we all, I think, agree, has an admirable mission. They've helped people, but what they are doing in Ossining has nothing to do with that mission. It is outside of it. This organization has no experience with housing. There is no data that supports what they're doing, and early results are not promising. We've learned that one of the Hudson Link graduates working on the house was involved in a robbery in Ossining. He was recently convicted. Now, this is not about second chances. It's not about judging people what they've done in the past. This is about what Hudson Link is doing now, how it is engaged with the community now in connection with this project. This organization claims to be providing graduates with instruction, training, and construction. That's the lie they tell the neighbors. We're just refurbishing houses. Yet these graduates are being exploited for cheap labor, quite frankly. They're not being instructed by licensed contractors or qualified teachers. They're removing asbestos without protection. All the while, the donors who don't live in Ossining get tax breaks. And that's amazing, because this is a time when our schools are underfunded, overcrowded, our own residents don't have affordable housing, and here we're subsidizing the operation of an organization that treats this community with contempt, that has lied to neighbors, lied to the zoning board. We think maybe have lied to you, but we don't know, because none of this has been transparent. There's no vetting. There's no public process. If you believe in Hudson Link's mission especially, you should be appalled by this abuse, by the way they're undermining it, and the way they're treating this community. We've also learned that this information's been hard to come by, but we have learned that this housing is transient, it's institutional, that they will be providing institutional services on the site, further exposing this absurd contention that this is somehow a single-family residence. We want to encourage the community to stand up and speak out. We know there's been some bullying about this, but this community deserves better, and we ask you to listen to the community on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? Then, Corporation Counsel, are we going into a motion for executive session, or are we just adjourning the meeting?
We're just going to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week at Village Hall for the next work session. This meeting is adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a motion to adjourn for matters, to executive session for matters of personnel related to specific persons.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with that, we are adjourned until next week's work session. Thank you.